Good evening and welcome to this meeting of the Attleboro School Committee for Monday, March 9th. This is your notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. Please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Hearing the Pledge of Allegiance with that number of children's voices in the room is so much better than not. In case I did not already say it, this is your notice that this meeting is being electronically recorded. First item on the agenda is a spotlight from Hyman Fine Elementary School, and for that I will turn it over to Assistant Superintendent Regan.
Thank you, Chairman Geddes. So tonight it's our pleasure to have Hyman Fine students, staff, and families join us for their spotlight presentation. Principal D'Alessio and her team will be sharing how they have personalized the work of our strategic plan, Pathways to 2030, and integrated it into their very own school culture with the students and staff leading the work along the way. So please welcome Principal D'Alessio and her team. Let's go.
Good evening, members of our school committee, Superintendent Sawyer, Assistant Superintendent Regan, and members of our school community who stand behind me, and I appreciate all the love and support that we have with us today. Thank you for the opportunity to share a small glimpse of the incredible work that is happening at Hyman Fine. Tonight's spotlight is titled Fostering Leadership Through Inspiration, Kindness, and Connection. I'm joined this evening by some very special members of our school community, both staff and students, who will help bring this story to life. We hope to share tonight not just a program or an initiative, but a look at our school culture through the eyes of our students. So when I began my work at Hyman Fine, I knew that I was stepping into a school community that had long been a place of dedication, care, and commitment to our students. As a new leader in the district, one of my first priorities was to listen and to learn from the educators who had called Hyman Fine home long before I did. I wanted to begin the year by establishing a shared mission, one that reflected both our district vision and the unique strengths of our school community. So using the district pathways plan or strategic plan as our guide, we worked together as a staff to reflect on some of these important questions. Who are we as educators? Who are we as a school community? And how do our beliefs align to the district's strategic plan? From those conversations, we crafted a mission that reflects our collective belief in educating the whole child. We believe that learning happens best when students feel supported, challenged, and connected to their community. Our mission states, our mission is to nurture the whole child through engaging learning experiences, strong partnerships with families, and a culture built on respect, responsibility, and continuous growth. We are dedicated educators who teach from the heart, adapt to meet individual needs, and inspire students to be Hawk heroes. As those shared beliefs became clear, I wanted to create something that could help anchor our work, a simple framework that would guide our decisions, our collaboration, and our commitment to our students. SOAR became our through line, the way we connect our daily work to the larger goals of the district. But most importantly, SOAR is about commitments we make as adults, to support one another, to own our impact, to aspire to grow, and to rise together. And part of that work has been encouraging staff to create opportunities where students can lead, collaborate, communicate, and innovate, and where they feel confident taking risks and sharing their voices. And one beautiful example of that commitment is something created by two of our own staff members and a group of incredible students. At this time, I'd like to introduce Mrs. Pierce, fourth grade teacher, and Ms. Cerrone, school adjustment counselor, and the Readers and Kindness Leaders Club to share about this club and its impact.
everybody. Good evening, members of the school committee, Superintendent Sawyer, Assistant Superintendent Reagan, and other community members here with us tonight. My name is Sarah Cerrone, and this is Maura Pierce. I'm the school adjustment counselor at Hyman Fine, and Maura is a fourth grade teacher. We were invited tonight by our principal, Susie DeLessio, to introduce the community to our Before School Club, Readers and Kindness Leaders. During one of our first professional learning opportunities, Susie shared the model of championing for students, and this inspired Maura to connect with me about starting a Before School Book Club.
So our intention in creating this group was to create a space for our fourth graders to demonstrate and build leadership qualities, and also build a love for reading and a love for lifelong learning. Reading is a safe place. It's a safe place to explore differences. It's a safe place to explore life's hardships and to grapple with emotions. It creates a safe place to ask questions with one another and to explore new ideas, and also to make connections and to feel validation. And often the students would hear Sarah and I, we share books with one another, and we also share books that we would recommend for students. And so we thought, what better way than to create a space for students to explore our world through literature that could also become the catalyst for our students to demonstrate the pillars of a portrait of a graduate that Mrs. DeLessio was sharing. Our students here in our morning group, they practice communication by learning how your tone of words, your actions can encourage and support the school community, and and they're seeing that in action every week when they come. Our leaders collaborate to support our community by learning from each other, respecting differences, and collectively taking action to make sure every student feels welcome, which you're going to get to experience in just a moment. They're learning to build balance. They're learning that to manage emotions, to respond with empathy, and what a great place through literature to get to do that. And how to understand that their choices impact others. This has been such a great opportunity for us to see also the kids' innovation. So we bring the literature, we talk about our community, and these guys, they're behind the ideas. You're gonna see their words, you're gonna see their handwriting, their love behind their acts of kindness that they are sharing with our school community, and this spring they're starting to share with the greater Attleboro community.
So with us today, we brought some of our kindness leaders, and they would like to share with you some of the opportunities we have been able to experience and impact they have felt from being a part of this group. But first, they would like to share with you one of their expressions of kindness. So give us a minute.
Thank you. Of course I do. Thanks, buddy. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. My favorite color, too.
So much. Thank you. What's your name, sweetheart?
I appreciate it.
Anna. Thank you very much, Anna.
Thank you so much.
It is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
It'll just...
If we miss anybody, there are going to be plenty of extra flowers or trying to squeeze in back there. We don't want to take too much time. What you just saw is something that they've been doing in our school community with all of the staff, to every student in the school, sharing words of affirmation and sharing a piece of their heart and their creativity with you. Now we'd like to invite a few of our leaders here to share some of the things that we've done that they feel has made our community at Hyman Fine stronger.
Hello, my name is Tala, and one thing we've done this year to make our school community stronger is greeting kids in the morning so they look forward to school. Some of us got to experience the greeting as a student and then as a leader. We've learned how to greet each other, even kids we don't know. My name is Ivy, and we also made hearts for every student and teacher for Valentine's Day and read affirmations to students, which made us stronger. It makes our community feel encouraged. We help our community by being true to each other.
My name is Maverick, and we'd like to share a video to show you more of what we have done.
Right before we share our video, do you want to grab those while I just go over this part? So thanks to our PTO and the Olivia Knighton Foundation, we have had so many great opportunities with our students, like making the paper flowers. We've also made Valentine hearts with positive affirmations on them. And Maura is holding a little baggie that we made for new students that has a note written by our leaders, a pencil, a Hawk Hero ticket, which is from our school, a magnet, and a bracelet.
The kids made the bracelets, the magnets in here.
Yeah.
And they made these 500 little hearts that they wrote on that say, "You've got this, love readers and kindness leaders, anything is possible," and they handed to every student in the school.
We've also, thanks to the PTO and the Olivia Knighton Foundation, have been able to read 2 wonderful stories. The first is Wish Tree by Catherine Applegate, and we're currently reading the book Safe Harbor by Padma Venkatraman. And okay, I wanted to make sure we touch on all the things that we've gotten to do. Those are our 2 stories that we read. So now, if we can, is it like,
Our leaders have shared in being part of this group how it has made a positive impact on their own view of themselves and their community. And they want the opportunity to be able to share some of their own words and perspectives with you. So they've prepared some words that they're going to share.
My name is Chase, and being a kindness leader helps me know I'm a responsible kid and helps me believe in myself. I feel like a real leader who is kind and helpful to others. It makes me feel good about myself.
My name is Anna, and being a kindness leader has made me feel like my choices influence what others choose to do.
My name is Olivia, and I've learned that I can be kind all the time, not just when others want me to be.
My
My name's Kiara, and when I think about kindness at our school, I see how enthusiasm to be kind spreads through the school. It looks like sharing bookmarks and hearts, students comforting each other with help, a hug, or kind words, and letting each other speak and listen when people speak.
My name is Grayson, and I see students being kind to each other and helpful, and kids treating each other with respect no matter the differences between them.
My name is Lily, and when I think about kindness at our school, I see us showing our core values of being respectful, responsible, honest, and ready to learn.
Thank you. We want to thank you for your time this evening and opportunity to share a little bit about our club and how our students shine at Hyman Fine. There we go.
Thank you both. Well, the Readers and Kindness Leaders Club is just one example of how our staff create meaningful opportunities for students to lead and serve our community. But it is just one small piece of a much larger story. Every day at Hyman Fine, our staff continue to soar in ways that inspire students, build connection, and create a culture where children feel valued and supported. From school-wide celebrations like our Hawk Hero assemblies to moments of recognition and encouragement in classrooms and in hallways, not only for the students but for the staff as well, to the joyful traditions that bring our community together, these experiences help shape what it feels like to be a student at Hyman Fine. In a recent survey, we asked our students a simple question: what makes Hyman Fine shine? And their answers tell the story far better than I could ever. We have one more thing to share with all of you.
On the outside, it's a school, but on the inside, it's growth, excitement, friendships, a great principal, vice principal, janitor, and teachers that help the school stay in great shape.
I love being a student at Hyman Fine because I've made good friends during my years at the school and had great teachers.
My teachers always encourage me when I fail, and I feel happy when that happens.
Hyman Fine is a special place because it teaches me to be respectful, responsible, and ready to learn.
You can get a shout out when a teacher sees you making good choices.
I love Hyman Fine because they have fun spirit days and fun assemblies. I always feel welcome when I walk into class every morning. During holidays, we'll do some fun activities like our principal will dress up as an elf. Events happen all the time, which helps students by knowing that their school is a fun place and not just a place where they always have to work.
There's a lot of fun activities: art, music, library, gym, and health. Every subject, you name it. It is so fun.
Hyman Fine is a special place.
Thank you, everyone. And again, these experiences don't happen by accident. They happen because of the incredible educators who show up each day committed to supporting students, not just academically, but social and emotionally as well. So I'd like to thank them personally and also thank our students for a wonderful job this evening. And thank you again for your time.
Students, great job. For those of you that are watching at home or watching this video later, unfortunately you did not get the benefit of walking into this meeting with the students outside, giving their words of praise and affirmation. It was quite a thrilling entrance to tonight's meeting. But students, before you go, I'm sure the committee has some questions for you. Does anybody have anything? Mr. Bennett?
Thank you. I actually just want to say thank you. I don't have any questions. I know that the world is really complicated and sometimes feels really dark, and the love that you guys share with each other and share to all of us tonight is the antidote. Like, you kids doing what you do are the, I mean, it's trite to say, but you guys are the future, and you give me confidence that the world is going to be in a better spot. I know, especially, I remember being, in first grade, which was a little while ago. I believe that. And how terrifying the big kids at the elementary school were, the big third and fourth, and even when I was in elementary school, even the fifth graders were still there. And just knowing that the little kids at your school are getting kind words from these big, intimidating, grown-up looking kids like you, it's just awesome. So thank you, and thank you for sharing this. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Mr. Larson?
The spotlights, when you guys come, obviously, it's the best part of our meetings. So just so you know that, and you all did a great job, and I can't even imagine as a fourth grader coming and doing a presentation in front of all of us. I mean, you did a great job, and Mr. Bennett is right on the money. I mean, you guys are really doing some real special work, and you should be congratulated for that. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Mr. Poor?
I mean, this is just absolutely wonderful, and how you kids knew that blue was my favorite color is beyond me. That's just amazing. But it kind of similar sentiments to what Mr. Bennett and Mr. Larson said. If things like this doesn't give the community as a whole motivation to just act better and behave well and be kind, then I don't know what else will. I mean, what you kids are doing here, you know, you mentioned the new kids come in and you greet them to make them feel welcome. I mean, this is what we should be doing as a community, not just at the school level, but what you kids did here is very motivational. Again, I'm glad I went out and got the high fives. It was great, and you all should be very proud of yourselves. It's a very wonderful presentation.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Before everyone goes, we do want to give families an opportunity to get a photo of your kids having sat and spoke. So I think probably we've only got a few seats, obviously. But if we could have the students that are in the front row that were in the high five line kind of get between the podium and around the table, and the folks that right around the students that are already sitting. Parents can feel free to come into the U-shape to take photos.
Go right in. Oh, okay. No, of course
Get the wide angle. Yeah, please feel free to come right in the middle.
Right in here if you want. That's all right.
Clip that for breaking the ice.
Get the good angles.
Right in, yeah, go ahead.
There you go.
Here we go.
Can share it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to get the next crew's got to come in. Hold on. Let the next crew in, they can't see.
Awesome. Congratulations again, kids. Great job. Thank you so much. Keep up the great work.
We gotta go home.
You too. Was one of the boys in the first round?
No, they didn't have anything. I guess so.
So as the last bit of folks are exiting the room, we'll move on to our next item. Next on the agenda is our Student Advisory Council update. And for that, I will turn it over to Representative Ayesianga.
Okay, thank you. So first off, in terms of student life, I want to say thank you to the Black Student Alliance who organized the Multicultural Fair last Wednesday. Students were able to share information about their cultures, including their customs, and showcase their clothing and facts about their countries. The School to Career Office and the Guidance Department will host on-site interview day with Electrical Boat on April 8th. This is an incredible opportunity for our seniors interested in entering the workforce after graduation. We have a fundraiser this Thursday at Meadows Custard for the senior class. And last week, the Student Council went to Mask and Hyannis, where they were named a 5-star council and a Gold Council of Excellence for their work in the Attleboro community. Our cheer team took 2nd place last weekend at States and will be moving on to compete in New England. And we wanted to extend congratulations to the February Student Athletes of the Month, Star Farum and LaDanian Rodriguez, who are in track and basketball respectively. And then shout out to the AHS Varsity Booster Club, who awarded 50 letter jackets last week to winter sport athletes. And then cosmetology also went on a jab shadowing field trip last Thursday and Friday. I had the opportunity to go to Glam Salon in Plainville, and I loved it. It was a great opportunity for me to see what it's like to work as a stylist and learn from other seasoned professionals. So now we're all working on creating slideshows to present to our classmates. And also, we had 2 students who have passed their state board exams and are licensed cosmetologists. Medical assisting and robotics CTE students also competed in Skills USA Districts competition last week. And we had dental CTE students who hosted a clinic for the Sudley Elementary kids, teaching them about dental hygiene and nutrition. And the Prism concert has been rescheduled for April 14th at 6 p.m. in the Bray Auditorium. Make sure to show up and see concert band, chorus, jazz band, and numerous other select ensembles at Attleboro's annual student-run concert. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments for the Student Advisory Council? Great job. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is our superintendent's report, and for that, I will turn it over to Superintendent Sawyer.
Thank you, Chairman. I have 4 updates for the committee this evening. The first is on the possibility of getting a waiver for our extended cancellations due to the blizzard. As I updated to the committee last time, the commissioner had promised to make some comments and give us an update at our quarterly state meeting last week. So I received that, and here to tell you that I do not have good news for the Attleboro Public Schools. Just by way of context, to make sure everybody understands exactly why things are the way they are, I just thought I would take a moment to review exactly what's operating here. First of all, the rules in question are a state regulation. You can find it under 603 CMR 27. It's called Student Learning Time. And 2703 specifically is about school year requirements. That's where it specifically says that we have to both have 180 days of school, but also that's where the requirement to schedule 185 days comes from. Every year we pass a calendar, and the calendar identifies the last day of school as the 185th day. Some people are confused by that because if we don't have any cancellations, we actually end school sooner than that. But it is literally a requirement under the regulations to schedule 185 days, and that's why we do that. The second part of the regulations are actually Section 4, called Structured Learning Time. It also outlines that on top of the days requirement, you also have to meet a certain number of hours of instructional time. And so that takes out lunch and recess and passing time and other things like that, and really just counts up the number of minutes that students are engaged in class. And for the secondary level, that's 990 hours a year. And at the elementary level, it's 900 hours. And there's actually a kindergarten requirement as well, which is 425 hours. And that 425-hour requirement is part of the reason why we actually are able to have a shortened number of days for kindergarten, for the people who sometimes ask about what that's about. So those are the requirements. Under 2706, which is called waiver or modification, the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education has the ability to entertain waivers for extenuating circumstances. On November 12th of 2024, DESE updated its guidance on how it will handle waivers, and that guidance is still in place today. And that's where DESE explained that any and all days, I'll say it that way, canceled before April 1st, so up through March 31st, must be made up. If you have 10 cancellations, you've got to make up 10 days. If you have 20 cancellations, you have to make up 20 days. Before April 1st, every day you miss has to be made up. And then after April 1st, the guidance says that you only have to make up to the 185, and that you can request a waiver past 185. So that's the guidance on how waivers exist currently in the state. Another thing that happened in November of 2024 is that they clarified that when you make up a day, it must be scheduled as a full day. Now, I know that here in the district, we lost a day to some extenuating circumstances at Brennan and made up a day on Good Friday a couple years back. Actually, that was in March of 24. And that was before this guidance changed that rule. So we did do a half day that one time. That is no longer allowed and would no longer be accepted by DESE. So I think it's important to explain that because some people, because of that Brennan experience, think that we would be able to make up half days, and that's no longer allowed. The other thing that the guidance from the 24th does clarify is that when you have to make up the days, that does not affect high school graduation, right? You have to schedule graduation within 12 days of your 180th day. And then if you have cancellations, you do not have to reschedule graduation. So that says that in writing right there as well. So that's part of why that doesn't need to be changed. That's part of the guidance. So that was already in place. On Wednesday last week, the commissioner clarified the criteria that DESE was going to use in consideration for any waivers related to this year's blizzard. So one, they weren't going to accept any waivers for anything less than 6 days, right? So it has to be more than 5 days, which was already part of the guidance. You also have to prove that you are making the 990 and 900 hours to be qualify for a waiver. And then the real kicker for us is that they were only going to consider waivers in which school had to be past June 26th. So currently, we're going on the 26th, and so that's not enough cancellations to qualify for a waiver under this year's criteria. The last thing I would add is that they require, for consideration for a waiver, that in this year, they require that you reschedule school on any days that were already designated for professional development, or, and this one's a key here in Attleboro, Good Friday. So if we have another cancellation and we apply for the waiver, it is clear that they are going to expect us to reschedule on Good Friday before they would consider a waiving of a day that would be scheduled on the 29th. So we would actually have to have 2 more cancellations rescheduled to Good Friday to be eligible for a waiver for the 29th, which is a very long explanation for why what we learned on Wednesday is not relevant to our context here in Attleboro. So it is my intention to clarify for families that the last day is the 26th, assuming there are no more cancellations, which, as I shared with the committee, based on the current forecast, there's good reason to believe we're going to continue to enjoy some weather that will be beneficial towards that happening. I don't want to jinx myself, but having some optimistic thoughts on this one. So we will communicate that to families and send that out later this week to make sure that everyone understands that our last day of school is Friday, June 26th.
Any questions or comments related to Mr. Bennett?
I have a quick one, and you probably don't know the answer, but I'm wondering why in Desi's world, March 31st is less important than April 2nd.
I cannot possibly explain that. I mean, I think part of the rationale is they had to pick a place. Why they picked it there, I don't know. But the idea being that the snow days should be done by then. And at some point, rescheduling days, especially days past the 185th that you've scheduled, becomes a logistical problem that they do see is a real thing for districts.
Well, we're just figuring winter's over now anyway, so we're good.
So we hope. Any other questions related to snow makeup? Thank you.
Thank you. As I informed the committee last week, I attended the Massachusetts Association of School Superintendents South Shore Legislative Breakfast. So that's where representatives from Mass put on a presentation to the attended legislators of the various communities represented by that particular region. That was, pretty much every community from here to Hingham is kind of draw a straight line up across up 95. That gives you kind of a sense of who was there, all the way down to Brockton. So if you kind of draw a triangle from Hingham to Attleboro to Brockton, that's more or less the attendees. I thought that it was a real affirmation of what we've been saying for a long time, the message sent to the legislators at that breakfast. Most noteworthy was the commitment to convincing everyone that we need to push for the Comprehensive School Funding Commission, right? Under the law, Chapter 70 is supposed to be reviewed every 10 years. It was less than 10 years ago that that was done, and SOA was the product of that, the Student Opportunity Act. But there is a recognition that there are some deep structural problems, and an admission, by the legislation at the breakfast that if it had not been for COVID and the ESSER funds that came with it, the crisis that is bearing down on the state would have come sooner than it is now. That bought us 2 or 3 years, depending on how you look at it. And so, rather than squander the time that was bought, there's a real push to not wait the 10 years, but let's get going on this. As part of that commission, Mass is pushing for addressing the inflation issue that is something that we've talked about extensively. Circuit breaker, increasing reimbursement for circuit breaker, which is a net positive for every district in the Commonwealth. The funding of transportation, of local transportation, which certainly be a huge benefit to all communities, but here in Attleboro that would be significant. To make adjustments to charter reimbursement. The details on that aren't really clear, so I can't speak to it specifically, but we certainly are affected by charter reimbursement, so I imagine there's a win for Attleboro in that. There's also a look to do something about the way that declining enrollment affects communities. Now, as we've been talking about, the enrollment in Attleboro has been, basically at 6,000 for 20 years. We're not experiencing in this moment the kind of declines that many communities are. But as we've talked about this year in particular, we still are susceptible to the swings that are natural in enrollment from year to year, right? Enrollment isn't really, stable to the actual number. And so last year we had a bit of a bump and we got extra money, which was great. But then this year, because that number came back to more historically, predictable numbers, the finances are not in our favor. And so my hope is that even though we're not particularly concerned about a declining trend, anything that could be used to sort of smooth out the ups and downs, I think would be beneficial to Attleboro. And then the last part of their plan is to permanently change minimum aid to $150 per district, which would not in any way benefit Attleboro. But the idea that the 6 planks of their platform, that 5 of them would benefit Attleboro, I think shows that our thinking is right in line with many other communities. And as we've learned, up at the State House, what one community needs is not of any interest to anybody else. But where there's a chorus of communities sharing the same message, there's a chance to get some traction. And I felt very optimistic that the things, again, we've been saying for quite some time are now catching on and are becoming part of the chorus.
Thank you, Superintendent. Did you have anything else on that? Or?
Not on the Comprehensive School Funding Commission.
So we do have a resolution on the agenda coming up shortly, and we'll talk about what's included from what the superintendent just said that kind of aligns with the resolution. Some of what's in the resolution, some of what Superintendent Sawyer just discussed is not in the resolution because it is part of the Chapter 70 formula and the need to reform that separately. That's not something the legislature is interested in doing until they make larger changes, and a part of that, the indication we got from DESE is that they are still reviewing a lot of the local aid contribution comments that they got back in the fall related to how much communities, individual municipalities. Thank you. I don't know why that word wasn't coming out. Why each community and how negatively impacted each community is by the formula as it exists now. So I agree. I do think the chorus of concern around Chapter 70 is finally being heard. I just hope there's not much delay in responding to those concerns because as you said, we've been sharing those concerns for a long time. So, any questions related to the mass funding information?
Yeah, I'll just conclude by saying that at the breakfast, it was refreshing to hear that there's a recognition that funding, which again, what we've really honed in on, in Massachusetts is not sustainable for districts. And, that's not an Attleboro problem, that's a structural problem, and that there's real recognition that unless somebody does something about it, the bill's gonna come due on that.
Yeah, it's only gonna get worse.
Okay, my third item is that in that call with the commissioner last week, we learned some bad news on the budget level. Massachusetts is anticipating a 10% cut in its funding for Title I. Title I has been level funded at the federal level in terms of the total national figure, but Massachusetts' share of it is going down, and that is driven strictly by census data and what percentage of the population qualifies as being in poverty. For reference, the definition would result in a family of four making $32,000 or less is the poverty level. So especially with increases to the minimum wage in Massachusetts, the number of families who qualify for that continues to go down. And so as fewer and fewer families qualify, the amount of money that goes to Massachusetts goes down. So again, it's anticipated that Massachusetts is going to receive a 10% cut. The actual figure that Massachusetts gets won't be known until June, and what Attleboro's share won't be known until June. So what the state was recommending is based on some very rough calculations. They gave us a figure by community for what we should anticipate and use as a budget figure. And for us, it amounts to a cut over last year's Title I figure by $225,000. So I notified Ms. Perrella of this fact, and in the budget presentation that we'll be giving to the committee in early April, we'll be using this updated figure rather than a level service. We'll be using the reduced sum so that it's more accurate and so that we don't get left in a place where when that number does come out, we're scrambling to accommodate a cut. So,
can you confirm what services Title I exactly covers? I know it's specifically geared towards low-income families, but
sure. Actually, I'll turn it over to Ms. Regan to really get into that.
Our Title I reading teachers are funded by that grant, so it's primarily reading services, intervention supports. It also funds our summer programming, so we typically will run the reading intervention camps in the summer, as well as our Jumpstart program for incoming K students. So So those are two programs that it impacts, as well as the after-school tutoring programs that we run, or before school, depending upon the time. So it'll impact.
Mr. Storrs?
As far as the estimate of 225,000, what would that relate statistically to our current funding?
I think our number was like 1.6 million, is that close, 1.5 and change?
Yes.
Yeah.
About 1/6, a little, 1/6, 1/7, somewhere in there, is what you're saying? Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, 225, close to that, right, about 1/7? Ish, okay.
Ish, yeah.
Okay, fair enough, thank you.
Any other questions related to the Title I cut? Thank you.
And then my final update is, as we informed you in our update on Friday, we got to balance that out. We got some good news on the budget front. The insurance increase for next year has gone from being an estimate to a number that we're going to actually be able to plug in for budgeting purposes, and that number is 8.4%. Now, you remember that when we were presenting our level service estimate, we were using the number 21% increase because at that time that was the best figure that we had, and we're relieved that that number has come down significantly. For anyone who's wondering how you could have such a discrepancy between the estimate and the actual number, the explanation is quite simple. The insurance companies are no longer covering GLPs for weight loss, and that's the difference in dropping it from 21% to 8.4%. I mean, there are a couple other factors, but the lion's share of that decrease is that one particular move. So until they calculated, there was no way of knowing what that amount of a reduction was going to be. So that explains what caused that discrepancy. And the good news here is that's to our budgeting benefit. And again, that new figure will be included in the level service estimate, which is now adjusted in our favor, and helps to bring us much closer to the number we're expecting from the city, which in a meeting next week, we'll be sitting down for the first time to really talk about an actual figure. But through ongoing conversations, we know that we're close, and this positive news, even with the bad news about Title I, gets us to place that's close enough that any concerns that we're going to be in any sort of budget crisis should be put to rest. It's going to be a tight year. There's not going to be room for extra things, but we will be able to run the district on the figure that we're anticipating.
Any questions about the change in insurance, Mr. Domenici?
Well, sure. I mean, it's good to hear that it's not a 21% increase, but 8.4 is still really high. That's not sustainable either. If we keep getting that year over year, as Mr. Larson has pointed out on more than one occasion, that's also going to continue to be an issue. And I don't know how to solve for that. Probably to go up on a hill and talk to our reps and talk about what can be done at a larger level to rein in insurance costs. I don't have that answer at the moment, but 8.4, while much better than what we were playing with, is not a good number.
So. No, it's again not a sustainable number, and it's part of why the inflation factor in Chapter 70 has to be adjusted. 100%. Right? The number, it's just not realistic. And what's really funny is, at the breakfast they were talking about the fact that the state does get to control the increase in special ed day schools, and they approve 10% increases, year in and year out, which is more than double what they give us for an inflationary increase. So the truth is everyone knows that the number that they're making us live by doesn't really reflect true costs. And as we say, it's going to catch up with us very soon.
Any other questions related to Mr. Storrs?
Yeah, I just want to, I think it's understood, but I just want to put it out there that the change in insurance, what is covered and what is not going to be covered, that has nothing to do with Attleboro Public Schools. We don't make that decision. This
Correct.
is the insurance companies, so for the community, for our staff. we are not behind any reductions in what is covered. I just want to throw that out there.
It's not something that we control or have any comment on, just reporting that that's what's driving the difference.
Thank you.
Ms. Porter? Sorry. Okay. Any other questions or comments?
That concludes my report.
Thank you, Superintendent Sawyer. Next item on the agenda is a joint resolution on school department funding. I'll entertain a motion to approve the I'll entertain a motion to approve the joint resolution on school department funding as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. This was written again in collaboration with Council President Kobus, and thank you to the mayor, the district administration, and our state legislators for providing some feedback on this as well. But specifically, the calls in this resolution are to fund in-district transportation reimbursement for regular in-district special education transportation costs. So this specific item refers to the fact that some of our programs are limited to certain schools just based on funding and staffing levels. They are not at all of the schools at each level. And so this would cover the required transportation costs to get students across the city to the schools that they are attending for those programs. Fully fund and strengthen the circuit breaker, which would increase this to 90%. Currently, circuit breaker allows for a 75% reimbursement for out-of-district special education tuition costs and some transportation costs. So this calls for that to be increased to at least 90%. Establish and fund the Whole Child Grant Program to invest in student mental health, which is a new grant initiative up at the State House to support student mental health. And then, as the superintendent referenced, strengthening the charter school reimbursement formula and the process by which the district pays for students that are attending regional charter schools and how that funding process works. So, any questions or comments? Mr. Storrs?
Was there any discussion with the city council regarding out-of-district transportation? I know that that is something that is required by law when it comes to homeless. When somebody is put in a shelter, say, we've always been told the story of somebody being put in Boston, while somebody from Boston is put in a shelter in Attleboro, and every day they're passing each other on the highway, being brought to their schools. So was that, or was that not part of the discussion?
So McKinney-Vento, I want to say, is that also part of, so I should also note, we did not put any specific Chapter 70 recommendations into this resolution because we have been banging that drum very loudly and very hard for a long time, and it appears that that message is starting to be received, but it is at least still a few years out before that any of those changes or any of those changes could be implemented. These were items that were specific to the FY27 budget impacts that we thought could be implemented for FY27 to reduce future impact. I'll ask Director of Finance, Ms. Perella, to come up to the table. We did not discuss McKinney-Vento, but I feel like McKinney-Vento isn't that included in circuit breaker?
So there's a different reimbursement for McKinney-Vento, so that we already get reimbursed at a certain rate for the McKinney-Vento students.
But it doesn't cover the total cost.
It does not, you're right.
Again, I commend the work that was put into this, absolutely. Believe me, if we even get a portion of this, I'd be very happy with that. So, just a question. Thank you.
Thank you. And to that point of it being a portion of this, Ms. Perella, can you just share with us let's go pie in the sky, assuming all of this works. Do we have an idea of how much additional funding that would be for the schools?
So for the transportation reimbursement, it says regular day and in-district special ed, so if that's everything that we're doing, we're budgeting 6.1 million for all of transportation for next year. At a 25% reimbursement rate, it's 1.5 million that we would get. Then it would increase year over year if the plan went out. For the circuit breaker, currently for instruction and tuition, we're reimbursed at 75%. If we were reimbursed at the 90%, we'd get an additional 500,000. For transportation, right now, we're reimbursed at 61% with, communities can get a max of 75%. So even if we were reimbursed at what other communities are getting, that would be another 123,000. And then, at the rate that we're suggesting in the initiative, it's $259,000 more. And then for the item 3 about the mental health supports, I did a quick survey of like the different offerings that we have. So we have adjustment counselors. We use the William James interface for families to get mental health supports. We have guidance counselors. The Welcome Center has been a big addition to the district and all of the things that they do. And the ABT team works on that too. So the total for all of those for next year is 2.5 million. So depending on how we look at the reimbursement rates, if we did it by student or if we want to get a 50% reimbursement rate, it's like 1.2 million, right? So depending on how that plays out for if we're going to do per pupil, how that looks. And then the charter school reimbursement, those dollars would go back to the city because they claim our reimbursements, but eventually would come back to us with how the formula works and the credits that they take. But it's about a $21,000 estimate for what that could be for next year. So it would be, if we got all of this, it would cover a lot of our issues that we've had with funding and would get us in a better place to be able to do some of the additional supports that we need in our district.
Any other questions related to the resolution or comments? Seeing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Perella. Next item on the agenda is our consent items. We have 2 tonight. I'll entertain both as one motion unless anyone has any concerns or would like me to do otherwise. Seeing none, a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $172.95 from Chipotle to the class of 2029. And a motion to accept the donation in the amount of $2,700 from the Feinstein Foundation to Coelho Middle School.
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or questions? Mr. Bennett?
I have 3 on my agenda. Did you miss one?
I only have 2.
Am I looking at that? No?
I have 3 as well.
Yeah, I have 3. It's $294 from BJ's to the class of 2026, BJ's restaurant.
Do you mind passing that over for me? Or you're looking in the...
Mark's name?
Sorry.
It's in the online, it's in the agenda in our folder. It's a motion to accept a donation in the amount of $294.04 from BJ's restaurant to the class of 2026.
Might have been updated late.
You are correct. I apologize. I will reread the motions. A motion to accept a donation in the amount of $249.04 from BJ's Restaurant to the class of 2026. Motion to accept the donation in the amount of $172.95 from Chipotle to the class of 2029. And a motion to accept a donation in the amount of $2,700 from the Feinstein Foundation to Coelho Middle School.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. I apologize for the confusion. Next item on our agenda is subcommittee meeting update. We have one tonight from our Finance and Budget Subcommittee from their March 4th meeting, and for that, I will turn it over to Subcommittee Chair Larson.
Thank you. We did meet on March 4th. Ms. Perella took us through the monthly budget reports, and as of right now, the budget is performing well, so there are no issues to make the committee aware of at this time. We talked about the fact that we need to have a public hearing about the budget. That's one of the motions that we'll be bringing forward. We had a continued update on redistricting. The letters for the people that will be involved in that will be going out soon, and they'll be scheduling times with both, with the new schools that they would be going to. They'll be having welcoming nights for those individuals. We had a discussion about paying for all the snow that somebody gave to us and the cost to get rid of it. I don't believe we have all the bills in yet, but we are currently about $120,000 over budget. There'll be some relief that we'll be applying for, but it could be a while before we find out if we are going to receive any of that or get qualified for that. And we do have two motions to bring forward. The first is motion to approve holding a public hearing for the proposed FY27 budget on April 6, 2026 at 6:45 here in the Zito Conference Room. 6:15, I am sorry, 6:15 here in the Zito Conference Room.
So moved.
Second.
This is a required procedure that we have to give the community an opportunity to come in and give us any thoughts that they may or may not have about the budget itself. It's not an opportunity to talk about overall funding because we don't control that. But if the public has an opinion, they can certainly come and voice it at that time. Any questions or concerns? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. And our second motion is to send to the municipal council for approval prior year invoices totaling $10,281.67. You were all provided backup information of the detail of these invoices.
So moved.
Second.
Anyone have any questions about the invoices? All in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Next item on the agenda is open forum. This is a time when members of the public may address the school committee to provide updates, share information, or express concern on matters within the committee's jurisdiction. All speakers are encouraged to present their comments in a respectful manner. Open forum is not a time for committee members to engage in dialogue with members of the public. Guidelines for open forum are available to you. Please know that we are interested in what you have to say, but we cannot respond without background information. Each open forum participant will be given 3 minutes to address the committee. Please come forward to the podium and state your name and address for the record. Is there anyone that would like to address the committee?
Jason Alfred, Attleboro, Mass. First of all, I'd like to thank the superintendent. I didn't have a chance to thank him last week about his allowing parents to decide whether or not the children should go to school after the storm. So I appreciate that. Let's address the elephant in the room. Mr. Geddes, you sent me an email. An email because you said several community members were concerned or felt threatened about something I said last week. Now, first of all, I don't believe anybody came up to you. I think you're lying, and I think the fact that you got called out for laughing after every parent up there spoke, you waited 4 days to all of a sudden address it. So I don't believe anybody came up to you. If they were that worried, they would have addressed it sooner. Aside from that, I'm going to ask you a question. We got a cop outside. We waved. It's obvious because you had to call them in. Now, let me ask you this. All the parents, year after year after year after year, month after month after month after month, come up to this podium and they talk about their kids getting restrained, abused, physically, mentally, thrown into seclusion rooms, grabbed, the woman last week said, put in a headlock. When are you going to get a police detail for our children? When are you going to protect them? Because you immediately said Monday. Mr. Alfred might have said something that a grown adult felt like it was threatening and they ran to you. Parents keep coming up to you month after month after month. You don't do anything. When are we going to get a police detail for our children to sit outside the school so as soon as something happens, they can have police details come in there? When are we going to do that? Are we ever going to do that? Or are we just going to, cater to the community? Because I've had many community members reach out to me, several in fact, just like your email. You had several come out. I had several come out to me and say, Jason, when you go up there next week, talk to them. Ask them when are they going to be protecting our children? Because as quickly as you reacted for them, for whoever these community members are, you actually have parents coming up there talking about real children, addressing real issues. When are you going to have police details protecting our children? When? I mean, at this point, it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's, again, we have children. My son has been restrained, thrown into seclusion rooms, which are illegal. And we have police details coming out there to save them? Nope. But we have adults allegedly that felt threatened over what I was speaking about. And now you jump to that, but you don't jump for children? Children are our future, and you feel like you need to jump for that. I mean, jump for adults, the hell with the children. Where's your priorities? You're the chairman of the school district. You're basically the highest one up here. You're supposed to be protecting our children because your child hasn't been restrained. It doesn't matter to you?
Mr. Chairman, that's 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Mr. Alford. Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee?
Truth is not harassment, it is protection.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak as part of open forum?
Good evening, Jennifer DeGeorge, McKay Street. So I'm calling up here because last time I came, I agreed with the request for the open meeting about the seclusion restraints. And last meeting I wasn't able to attend, and that request was reversed to put back on the administration. As a parent, I didn't immediately go to Facebook. I went to the committee here. I sent out emails. I asked you to clarify it. I want to say thank you to Mr. Poor. Sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Scott. I'm not even going to try. And Mr. Gittes. All three of you replied to my email. You weren't sure, so you passed it on to them. I appreciate your honesty, Mr. Poor, saying you weren't sure. You will let them handle it. Mr. Gittes and Scott, thank you for clarifying that to me. The reason why you pushed it back on the administration. You're following a policy that's you have to follow. You have to agree with because of the state put these recommendations. The administration is the one that's going to oversee how those policies are upheld. So I'm here to ask the administration, which I'm assuming is the assistant superintendent and the superintendent, that reach out to parents, whether it's myself or other parents who have had to deal with the outcome of the restraints in the seclusion room and how it impacts our children, not only from a parent who has had to deal with it and had the aftermath of coming home to my son curled in a ball because of it, but as a healthcare worker who's also worked in the medical field and who's actually had to help restrain a child. That impact of a child in the ER scared to death, being 4-point restraint by lock restraints because someone didn't want to listen to them, or the teachers didn't have the time, or there was inadequate staffing. So not only as a parent who's dealt with it, as a healthcare worker who has had to participate in those restraints, I know what it's like. I know what the mom coming in frantic to seeing her child on a stretcher with 4-point restraints, on Haldol or medication to calm them down, all because someone didn't listen to the child or take the time to give them the support. So as a parent, I'm asking you just to be open to the concept of having that open discussion. I understand people are coming up here every week with their emotions are running high. But as someone who's dealt with it, firsthand and has participated in these restraints, I know what it's like. And I know it's not like you enjoy doing this. But as a parent who's actually had to deal with it, to me, right now, it seems like that's the only way that you guys are going about. So I'm just asking for the administration to please update the parents when you are going to have that meeting and make those decisions, and just be open with that. And I'm asking parents to be coming up with an open mind, to have that open communication, so you can talk back and forth instead of getting aggressive with it. Just have that open communication.
Thank you, Ms. George.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ms. George. Sorry.
It's okay.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee?
Hi, Kimberly Noble. I wasn't going to speak, but I'm just going to say a few words. And of course, my phone will not open now. I did also want to thank several school committee members who have responded to my emails in the past, and for the chairman for taking his time recently and speaking with me. My son currently has 5 school suspensions this school year, 22 incidents involving restraints, 46 individual restraints, numerous seclusion times, a 911 call, and a behavioral hold at Sturdy, in a 4-point restraint on the stretcher. The focus of the school is on academics, reading, writing, mathematics. However, it's increasingly evident that collaboration and problem-solving skills are severely lacking as taught skills in schools. And if the most vulnerable students have the most trouble learning these skills, or have a deficit in this skill set, then why are we not helping them learn these skills well, like you would a child with their reading skills if they had dyslexia? At every school meeting I attend, the stories are predictable, with predictable triggers and predictable outcomes mentioned. And I continue to ask, why did the train leave the station in the first place? The answer I get in return is, does your child realize if they didn't act like this, we wouldn't have had to fill in the blank, including call 911. The school conversations have become a hamster wheel. They are perplexing, frustrating, and infuriating at times. Collaboration and problem solving are the key skills that all children need to be taught and will succeed later in life. My son doesn't go to school hoping to be restrained, secluded, or suspended. He goes to school wanting connection, to be liked, to be respected, and hopefully learn something new. The system is structured with an IEP, but it isn't followed for various reasons or on various days. Those students who behave best under the current school system have the skills, but those aren't the kids that need an IEP or a structured school environment or the help learning these skills. Unsolved problems do not build skills. Unsolved problems do not change behavior. We need to understand the issues, solve the problems with the train before the train leaves the station. Focus on the train. Give the teachers and the paraprofessionals the training. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Noble. Excuse me. Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee?
My protection. I love this. First of all, rest in peace, Chris Fryer. You were a brother to me. I will always love you. You will never be forgotten. Good evening. My name is Joey Ford, 44R Smith Street. I'm a parent, a resident, and the founder of Parent Data Force, an independent watchdog initiative focused on transparency and accountability in public education. Tonight, I want to talk about something more serious than a disagreement. This is about misuse of government power and the protection of the public's right to speak. Recently, after a resident spoke during public comment, the chair of this committee sent a private email referencing school committee policy BEDH and explaining that statements interpreted as threats could be grounds to prevent a community member from attending future meetings. This is a CPAC member as well. The email then asked the resident to clarify the statement so that the chair would not have to, quote, take any other actions. We now have a police officer outside. Think carefully about what that means. A citizen exercised the right to speak about their government. The response from the person holding the gavel was to privately invoke a policy that could exclude the citizen from future meetings, while simultaneously telling them that the action might be necessary if they did not clarify their speech. That is not a neutral request for clarification. That is conditional consequence tied directly to speech. It is the government saying, explain your words the way we expect, or there may be repercussions for your ability to participate. When government officials attach potential punishment to how speech is interpreted, that is coercion. It pressures citizens to modify or retract their speech in order to avoid consequences. And when that pressure comes from the chair of a public body, the very person responsible for protecting the fairness of the public forum, it undermines the entire purpose of public comment. But there is another troubling aspect of this situation. In the email, the chair claimed that the concern came from other members of the committee. However, when committee members were asked about this, several confirmed they were not consulted beforehand and did not review the message before it was sent. That leaves us with two possibilities. Either the committee was consulted outside of a public meeting, which raises serious concerns under the open meeting law, or the chair invoked the authority and concern of the committee without actually speaking for it. Both scenarios represent a misuse of the power of the chair. Public comment exists so that people can speak directly to their government without fear. The First Amendment protects not just polite speech, but criticism, frustration, and uncomfortable truths directed at those in power. When a chair begins attaching conditional consequences to speech, suggesting that residents may lose access to their own public meetings based on how their words are interpreted, the message to the community becomes clear. Speak carefully, or you may lose your place at the microphone. That is not democracy, that is intimidation. Leadership requires restraint, judgment, and respect for the rights of the public. In this case, that standard has not been met. For the sake of restoring trust in this body and protecting the integrity of the public process, I believe the responsible course for this action is for Chairperson Geddes to step down from his role as chair. And I want it to end with this. If it becomes acceptable for the chair of a public body to privately warn residents that their speech at the microphone could lead to their exclusion from future meetings, then every person sitting in this room tonight should understand what that means. It means the public comment period is no longer a forum for free expression. It becomes a test of whether your words are safe enough for those in power. That is not the standard
Chairman,
our
that's 3
community
minutes.
deserves.
Thank you, Mr.
And it
Ford.
is not the example our schools
you,
should be
Mr.
setting
Ford.
for the students
Thank you, Mr.
who
Ford.
are supposed to learn what our
Mr.
democracy
Ford,
looks like.
That's 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee as part of open forum? Is there anyone else that would like to address the committee here in the room as part of open forum? Seeing none, is there anyone virtually?
There is no one virtually.
That concludes open forum. Reminders of upcoming events this Wednesday. This Wednesday, correct? Thursday. March 11th? Wednesday, March 11th, ACEPAC will be holding its virtual meeting at 6:30 p.m. Anyone interested in attending can register and find information through their social media. Thursday, March 12th, there will be no school for the ELC as they will be hosting screenings. Also on Thursday, March 12th, Attleboro High School Junior Planning Night. This Friday, March 13th, there is a district-wide early release for professional development. And on that day, there will be no school for the ELC for additional screenings. Next week, on Thursday, March 19th, Attleboro High School will be hosting a Night to Discover. For Friday, March 20th, Attleboro High School will have an early release. And the full committee's next meeting is Monday, March 23rd, here in the Zito Conference Room at 6:30 p.m. Any other updates, Ms. Porto? I know you had an update from ACEPAC.
Yeah, just a quick one. ACEPAC sent out a survey for Share Your Voice. It went out to special education parents. Deadline is the 22nd. That link can also be found on the ACEPAC page as well, and the district website.
Thank you, Ms. Porto. Any other updates or alerts, event reminders for the committee or the community? Seeing none. Next item on the agenda is executive session. The committee will the Attleboro School Committee will convene in executive session pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21A and 21A, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2 and 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting might have a detrimental effect. Collective bargaining may also be conducted. The committee will not return to open session following executive session.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Larson.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Domenici. For logistical purposes, the committee will be going into the superintendent's conference room for executive session. Any questions? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote. I'll start with Mr. Bennett.
Yes.
Ms. Porta.
Yes.
Mr. Storrs.
Yes.
Mr. Larson.
Yes.
Mr. Geddes, yes. Mr. Domenici.
Yes.
Ms. Johnson.
Yes.
And Mr. Poor.
Yes.
All right. Thank you. We will now go into executive session, and open session is adjourned.